Hello, my name is Tizzle. Today we're going to be talking about games and ADHD. This is all from my personal experience with playing games and how I feel like they've affected me and my ADHD. Not all of this will affect everybody with ADHD the same because it's a spectrum. So, let us get into it then, shall we? Starting off with D. D are games that I love, but I can't play. These games are games like Outer Worlds, Dream Daddy, and Night in the Woods. I find it hard to play these games because there's a lot of written dialogue. I find myself skipping through scenes and not paying proper attention to the characters in the game. It's this weird combination of the fact that these games feel linear even though they might not be, and they feel like there's a structure there that you have to follow. Also really hard to navigate menus. The Outer Worlds menu was a pain in my butt. And then we have Cuphead. Games like Cuphead require memory retention and the ability to repeat the same thing again and again and do it better each time. And I just find that extremely difficult for me, having issues with my memory and also the emotional regulation. That I get so angry playing games like this. And for me, that's just something that I don't want to experience. Also, I hope this flower finds a way to go back into the fucking earth it came from, because this took me 5 hours to defeat and I never want to see it again. But we've done D tier, we're going to go to the C tier games. These games, they're more of a C/S. You want a game that's going to hit everything and make you feel good, but also make you feel shit at the same time? Play these games. They will do it for you. They will deliver that dopamine straight to your brain. These are games like Fortnite, Apex, Dead by Daylight, Valorant, pretty much any first-person shooter in a competitive setting or any team-based game. Now, don't get me wrong, I know these games are addicting for most people, but for people with ADHD, it's even worse. The amount of dopamine we get from these games is all I have to mention. If you don't know what I mean by that, there is dopamine when we get adrenaline. There is dopamine when we win a game. There's dopamine when we get scared, and there's dopamine when we hyperfocus. These games literally give us all the dopamine we're looking for. We get very competitive, and we also have the tendency to hyperfocus. We will put 10 hours into a game and we will not stop until we are the carry. And the problem with this is that it causes us to have issues with regulating our emotion, which means we start to treat our team members badly. We start to get angry at enemies. We go from 0 to 1,000 really quickly. We even get really upset with ourselves. And then in turn with that, we start to have issues with our rejection sensitivity. We start to think that we're not good enough. We start to think that we shouldn't play with other people. Next time you're thinking about playing one of these games, just try something else for a change. Try an RPG. Take 10 minutes out. It will make a lot of difference. The B tier. I'm trying to act like I'm looking at it right there. These are games that are not as bad as the F/C tier, but they're still slightly addictive. If you're trying to get away from this is a good place to go. Games like Minecraft, Valheim, Animal Crossing, and Sea of Thieves. These are games that are really grindy, where you have to finish X to get to Y. It can be really addictive in the moment, but they can wear off over time. You have the ability and control to shape the world that you want, and there's less stress involved with that. We don't feel pressure from any outside sources, and we don't have to worry about rejection sensitivity. It's not very often that we feel positively about our ADHD, so it's nice to play a game that makes us feel good about it, that encourages that within us. That's why as much as I hyperfocus and as much as I burn time away, I always leave feeling really positive. Going into the A tier, I want to mention the difference between the A tier and the B tier, because some of these games people will feel like they're the same. They aren't. The grindiness of B is what makes it more addicting. A tier are games that are addictive, but you can control them. They either have no limitations or they have limitations. So these games are Slime Rancher, Age of Empires, Sims, Phasmophobia, and Stardew Valley. So on one end, you have games like Stardew Valley, which have time restraints, so it reminds you how much time you've spent playing the game. And on the other hand, you have games like Sims, which don't really have a time constraint, but you can save whenever you like, and you can come back and it will be exactly the same. Stardew Valley, Phasmophobia, and Age of Empires all have time restraints. Phasmophobia is my absolute favorite because each session maybe takes me a maximum of an hour, and most of the time I'm playing with friends. Also, it's scary, so extra dopamine. Age of Empires is one of those games that could have been in the F/C tier, but because it has a time constraint, I've put it here. Age of Empires sessions can take 3 to 6 hours depending who you're playing with, but you can also be really competitive when you play them, which is really good for our dopamine. The games without time constraints are Slime Rancher and The Sims. These games remind me of the B tier, but they have no deadlines. That's the biggest difference between these games and the B tier game. S tier! The moment everybody has either skipped to or has been waiting for. I don't blame you if you skip to it, because I would also do the same. These are the best games. If you have ADHD, or if you feel like you relate to some of the problems that I have, this is the list for you. These are games like Breath of the Wild, Red Dead Redemption 2, Skyrim, the Witch series, specifically 3, and also the Resident Evil games, most of them. These games are very open world, but somewhat linear, making it really easy to follow without getting lost. The menu layouts aren't overly complicated, but even if they are, you don't actually have to follow them. There's a lot of character development, but enough to keep you engaged and concentrated. It doesn't feel overwhelming. There's a lot of action, bits of adrenaline. They're easy to play, but you can change the game depending on how you want to play. You can play these like you're terrible, or you can play them like you're good at them. You can, and you won't feel the same way that COS tries to make you feel. The holiest of grails of games that I've ever played for somebody who has ADHD is it's Skyrim. I am crap at this game, but I feel great at this game at the same time. All of the side missions are just as enjoyable as the main mission. You don't have to be focusing that much to know what you're doing. It is a bit glitchy sometimes, but sometimes the glitchy part of it is what makes it so much fun. And it will seem overwhelming when you first play this game, but just start playing it and then realize how it's not that serious. It's the best game for someone who has ADHD. And I stand by that. It's a fantastic game. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you found it relatable. If you didn't, that's also fine. We're not all the same. ADHD is a spectrum. If you don't mind listing in the comments below what you feel like is the games that you like to play that you feel are really good for you and your ADHD, please list those. Please let me know. I want to know so I can try play some of these games, even just like the ones that you feel like were the worst. Games that you really didn't like that just didn't do it for you. Please let me know what those are. I'm looking forward to doing some reviews on this channel. This is like my first proper video, and I'm very excited to release this to the world and to all of you, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you didn't, that's fine. But if you did, that's great. Draw some little eyes on my hands. Pan's Labyrinth. Don't forget to subscribe and stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye!